Good morning and welcome everyone. We're pleased to have you with us today. And today we're going to be discussing the development of your LinkedIn profile to provide a virtual resume. We'll begin with some introductions and an overview of the Job Connection program. For the folks in the room, I am not able to see the chat as I'm doing this today. So if someone there could please.
Mary Jo did it.
Thank you. Thanks, Mary Jo. So this is, again, the first of two LinkedIn presentations in the series. This is part 3 of a 7-part series that we worked through. In the last couple of weeks, week 1, we learned how to identify our skills and our strengths, how to write accomplishment statements and marketable definitions. Last week, we learned how to utilize those to construct an effective resume. So this week, we'll further build on all of that and learn to construct a basic LinkedIn profile, and then how to turn it into a great marketing tool. In coming weeks, we'll learn more about interviewing, more about LinkedIn and how to use it, and also about networking. These will also build, from your skills, strengths, and accomplishments statements and your marketable definitions. As always, if you do have a specific need, our volunteers are here to help. You don't have to wait for the topic to be addressed in any of these sessions. So please get in contact with one of us and we'll do what we can to help. Our contact information is on the website. We'll take a look at that here in a little bit. And we would encourage you to register on the website as a job seeker if you have not done so already. And let me just go ahead and pull up the website here so that you can see that. So this is what the website looks like. You would sign up in the upper right-hand corner, and you can find today's presentation. You're right here on the website, as well as the handouts and of course the link to our meeting today, which you've already found if you are in attendance here on Zoom. So again, we appreciate your attendance. Each week, our workshops and handouts are shown here on the right-hand side, Job Connection workshops and handouts. And if you click on that, it brings you to this, where you can look at those either the presentation or the handouts for that particular week. So we would encourage again everyone to sign up on the website and participate.
The things that you see on the right-hand side are all the resources that you have through Job Connection. The little pink bars on the right-hand side of the screen. The 3 orange buttons are the buttons that you would go to for the presentation for this particular week, the handouts if they're already for this particular week, and the link to the URL for this particular week. So those 3 orange bars are specific and easy to find for people to be able to find the presentation, the URL link, and any handouts that might be going on for any particular week, because it changes each week, so that they'll always be current there. And then the sheet that you showed it before, under the career help, you have access to all of the website, all the presentations and all the handouts from that one page. So it's a little bit different, but I think it's going to be a big plus for us.
Very good, very good. One of the things, thanks for asking me to put that back up, because one of the things that I failed to mention as we went through that was the pink bar that shows find a job connection coach to help you. If you click on that, it will come up with the names and email addresses and phone numbers for our coaches. So you please feel free to get in touch with any of us that you feel could be helpful to you, and let us help however we can. So again, we appreciate your attendance today, and let's go ahead and begin with get back to this and begin with our introduction. So Bobby, if you could go through the room and then ready to switch.
Actually, I think Mary Jo was going to take care of that. Is that
Taking care of
that beginning of the meeting and the introductions?
I'm glad to do that.
Okay, what don't you lead us in there?
Okay, good morning. I'm Mary Jo Marvin. I've been with Job Connection 3+ years, and my background includes software engineering, math tutoring.
Oh,
Turn it down, Bobby. There we go. We're having a little sound issue. Anyway, where was I? I taught.
And Mosaic.
I'm getting there. I taught my son in homeschooling through high school, and while I was doing that, I found a program I love called Future City, which is a STEM program for middle schoolers. So currently I'm a STEM mentor for Wills Point Junior High in Texas. It's a little rural community. In my off season now, I've been becoming a mosaic artist, and so and you're all invited to our Mother's Day event. I can send information and links and whatnot. It's going to be awesome. So I'm the kind of person who loves to analyze, solve problems, work with teams, communicate effective solutions. And I do that no matter what I'm doing, teams and individuals. Even in Mosaic, I find there's lots of problems to solve visually, and it's very exciting to apply those kind of analytical problem solving skills in so many different ways. Welcome to everyone. Glad to have you all here. Peggy, would you go next, please?
I'm Peggy Ruff, and I've been with Job Connection quite a few years right now, and I have just found it to be such a wonderful ministry, and so I'm blessed to be a part of it. My background is in teaching, and I started teaching in high school, and then I was taken up to college, so that was kind of cool, and that was wonderful. And I taught in and I taught at DeVry University, which is an awesome place, and I taught career development, English, speech, student success, problem solving, all sorts of that type of stuff that I did. And it was just a wonderful time of my life. But now I enjoy helping others, encouraging others. And I guess my three things I would say about me would be that I love to work with people. I like to do problem solving, and I also the Lord has just given me this gift of encouragement. So I'm the encouragement person.
She encourages me because she makes good coffee.
Oh, so you're responsible for coffee. Thank you so much. I enjoy that. Thanks for that great introduction.
Okay.
Oded, would you like to go next?
My name is Oded Barnea. I'm Israeli originally. I came to live in Dallas area 20 years ago. Before that, for 25 years, I owned a company which today you call it IT company, 150 employees, and I computerized companies and organizations and government. I was involved sometime in the management of those companies. It was very common back then that the IT people were involved in changes in the organization to fit them to the computers world. After I came here, I was saved, and I'm Messianic Jew. And I got a bonus, my wife, she's amazing. And then I did real estate investing. I never actually invested in real estate. I flipped papers. I contracted on papers and assigned them to someone that can do it. And I'm seeking a job in the management area. I found that it's not easy because of my history. It's happened long ago. My age also, but I didn't give up. And that's why I'm here.
Wonderful, good to have you. Thank you. Kevin?
My name is Kevin Pica. I think I've met most of you for many, many years now. Yeah. Professional job connection at the end.
We like that, yeah.
Soon
to be volunteer.
maybe. So, have spent my career primarily the last 20+ years in medical and dental capital equipment. In the medical arena, the company I worked with partnered with small rural hospitals, 25 to 75 hospitals, who had mobile MRI services, diagnostic imaging. And so our company provided a full-time solution, staffing, marketing for them, better ROI, better reach out to their referring physicians, and better for the patients. In dental, started out with a startup CAD/CAM company here out of Richardson, actually, E4D Technologies. Worked in sales with them, Midwest area of the country. Moved down here in 2012 to the corporate headquarters and worked in product management. Spent the last 4 years there as the director of education, more as the dean or administrator of the school, because their VP of marketing and education was the dentist himself. He was the clinical expert. I just did the admin support. They moved to Chicago. We decided not to move there. And so that's the reason for, at this point, really looking for a position. I did take a stint with another dental company selling capital equipment for them. Resigned from them in December. It was more of a cultural, it was very transactional. You put the headsets on, and as you said, you never met anyone in real estate. I'm relational. I like to develop relationships. And this particular company, great company, they're successful, but just took a step back and says, well, what do I want to do with the rest of my life at this last third? We had been in sports ministry, my wife and I, for 6 years of our marriage to start. And I really thought I was going to go back into full-time sports ministry. That involves raising your own support. There's 2 organizations I was looking at. One was in soccer and one was in cycling. The raising of the support has become kind of a hurdle. And so I looked at something like, well, the YMCA, Donna knows all about that. Applied to the YMCA for associate sports director position, and ageism may have had part to do with that. I'm not sure, but they recruited someone from within, which I fully support that too. You want to support people. So to make a long story short, or try to shorten this down, I'm the type of person that enjoys facilitating the success of others, whether that's consultative sales, whether that's in a leadership position, serving the people that work with you, and or developing long-term relationships with people professionally and personally. So at this point, this career transition could lead into, hey, let's work at Costco, just as something, start building a career there. I don't have to go back into medical or dental. If that door opens, great. So I'm completely, at this point, I would like to say wide open, but lost.
Well,
There's my honest introduction.
that's cool. Well, I was gonna say Costco, they'll start hiring, I talked to them now for the summer, and then they keep on those people. Just that way.
Yeah.
I know, but you meet a lot of people.
Right.
Go, in a place like that. Okay, so we're, believe it or not, we're running just a little behind, and we have so many people online. I want to get to them all. So if we could keep it brief, I know we volunteers know how to do that. So Bobby, you're next.
Well, let me say, I'm not sure I know what I should. My spot for it is I'm a volunteer with Job Connection. I spent my life, first 25 years of my career with Dow Chemical as an engineer. Did that until with the The accountants took over the businesses and started worrying about earnings per share more than people and products, and we had massive layoffs, and I was one of those, and I had an opportunity. It turned out to be a blessing in my life because I met people in the account placement business that teach people how to find jobs, just like we're doing here. I spent the next 20 years working with people across the country and teaching them and counseling, coaching them, making a pretty good living out of it, actually, until I finally pulled up stakes, retired, and moved to Dallas to be close to my grandchildren. So I got involved with this ministry because it gave me a chance to do what I know in an area that I love, helping people like this. And so I'm tickled to death to hear the stories I'm hearing about people that are struggling and lost, because that's the beginning of being found and going the direction that you need to go. And I want to help you do that. So if I can be a part of that. So I'm the type of person who likes to help people. I like to help people. First of all, I like to learn. I've unfortunately, I've learned much more about Facebook and the internet than I want to trying to build a job connection ministry, but I love to learn new things, and it's all been a learning thing, and I love to help people that and share the things that I know. So that's basically who I am.
Thank you, Donna.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Donna Carter. I've been a volunteer here for over a year at Job Connection. I'll try to make it brief. I've had a varied number of careers. I was in sales before I got married. And then when I got married, then I was off for several years with being a stay-at-home mom. And then I got back into, but anyway, even prior to that, and since that, I've done roles in HR. I've been a recruiter. I've been in retail, you name it almost. But most of my years in working has been in healthcare. And I love that. I still love it. But my passion has always been, being a job coach. And I've done this off and on volunteer wise for years. And it's still my passion. I'm the type of person who loves to help people like Bobby, and even though I love every part of the transition and looking for a job and helping people with it, I really enjoy interviewing and helping people, coach them on what to say, not to say kind of thing, and also with their final offer and negotiating that so they don't have any money left on the table. So, but
Thank you. Appreciate it. Al.
I'm Al Ransom, volunteer here for several years, and I've spent my career in telecommunications in the engineering section, managing groups that were responsible for budgets and for equipment, just delivery. And I'm the kind of person who enjoys developing people, finding ways to create efficiencies and cost control. Glad to have you.
Thank you. Neil.
My name is Neil Hummel. I'm kind of catching up on some of this technology stuff. I've been out of the workforce for a very long. I was taking care of my parents and they were in hospice care. And on today's subject on LinkedIn, I'm still kind of learning a little bit more on LinkedIn. There seems to be little stuff that comes up, so I'm still kind of learning on that. But I'm the kind of person who problem solving, helping, adapting, communicating, and sympathizing. And what I hope to get out of this is a very, going up when I go for a job interview, being able to be on the same page with the people that's hiring you. That's my goal. And then I try to bring some people in here too.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Neil. And online, Greg, would you like to take it over from here?
Yes, that'll be fine. Jeff, would you lead us off here?
Absolutely. My name is Jeffrey Baltzer. I'm an IT professional, having spent 30 years being an applications developer and a leader. I was most recently employed with KPMG. Sorry about that. I've been refereeing dog fights all morning. That's not really one of my accomplishments, but it has been challenging. So let's see, I left KPMG because of a reduction in force. I'm looking for a position where I could utilize my developer skills on the ServiceNow platform. And I'm the type of person who utilizes his technical acumen, problem solving, and leadership skills to craft and deliver high quality business solutions that exceed expectations.
Thank you. Debbie, would you please introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, my name is Debbie Burrow. As far as my career history, it's a little wide and varied, but mostly I would say customer service, or I also had computer operator in there, stuck in there for a while, and then just different things though that I like working with machines and helping people. As far as that would be, my career interests, part of it, I guess. And then the type of job I'm looking for, I'm actually looking at career change right now due to health issues, and which is why I got laid off from my previous job. And so I'm still looking to see what I want to be when I grow up, I guess, is how you might want to put it. As far as help from, Job Connection volunteers and whatever, I think helping me to figure out exactly what I would be capable of doing at this point, and trying to get a focus on that so that I can have a solid goal in mind. I think that would be a good thing. Because I mean, if you don't have a goal, you can never reach your goal, right? So as far as questions about LinkedIn, I have to be honest with you. I have a LinkedIn, but I hate it. I've always hated the idea of putting all my information out there for people to see. And I've been very skittish about doing that. I know that it's the in thing to do these days, but if I can get around doing that, to me, that would be good, because I'm a really big believer in Big Brother, and I don't like giving them all that information about me. But that's me. You can call me the conspiracy theorist or whatever, but that's just, I believe that it's going to be in our future. It's whatever we put out there is going to be used against us. So I have to be honest, I'm just a little, like I said, I'm a skittish about the LinkedIn thing today. As far as this, the statement, I'm a type of person who, I love helping people, and like I have a great deal of empathy for others. And so I think that's part of my spiritual gifts, mercy and helps. And so I want that to be part of my job, because I feel most satisfied when I have a job like that. And I throw machines in there too. I do like working with computers. So that's, part of what I like too. And I guess that's me in a nutshell.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you.
Alex, would you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Alex Coker, been a long time member of Lake Point. Summary of my career, I want to say roughly 40 years in the IT industry. Most recently, senior manager of business engineering, which is a pre-sales position. So I managed two teams there. One was a technology team. The other is the demonstration platform team. So my most recent employment's been with Oracle Corporation for the past 10 years. And I returned from a nice vacation on April the 5th to find out that my position had been terminated. So a reduction in force has caused me to take a good look at what are my next steps. So I think my questions in career interest are, more technology hands-on than management. I kind of reluctantly went back into management about 6 years ago. Frankly, I think if I'd have stayed as an individual contributor, I'd probably still be employed. What I like from the Job Connection is just kind of information, primarily help me navigate the decisions ahead. The main decision for me, and I'm going to kind of give myself until July, is do I retire or do I continue to work? So I'm kind of working both of those simultaneously. So help me, the help would be, should I retire and just, do something else like in the ministries, or, continue to work? I don't have a lot of questions about LinkedIn. I kind of looked through the slides already. Some of the things that are in there are, I've already taken advantage of that, but I'm looking for things I may have missed because I did it on my own. So you guys are the experts. I'm the type of person that enjoys solving problems, especially with technology. So that's kind of my interest. So in a nutshell.
Well, Alex, it would be great to hear the questions you have since you've prepped. I always tell my students, read the chapter before you go to class. It'll be very interesting, I think.
Yeah.
Alex, is this your first meeting with Job Connection?
Yes, it is. Yeah, I actually had to get the link from my daughter for some reason. I went to the website at Lake Point, signed up there, and I think all it did was register me that I was going to show up in person. I'm quite a ways away from Rockwall. Actually, I live on Lake Lavon, so it's not a huge drive, but being unemployed, I'm trying to conserve expenses and gas wherever I can. So I thought, the Zoom was the way to go for me right now.
Okay, well, very good. So you found out about Job Connection through the church and the website, or?
Yeah, I've known about Job Connection for some time, but just navigating the new structures of our website and everything, I clicked on a link that said, click here to register for the Zoom session, but I did that, and all it did was register me, get a return email, and it didn't have a link to the Zoom meeting. So I knew my daughter had attended on Zoom because she lives in Murphy, Texas, and I reached out to her, and she had the link to the Zoom still. She's still on your email list.
Thanks for the heads up on that. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Well, thank you. And let's see, Rachel, would you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, hi, I'm Rachel. I found about this because Mark Schellberg is my previous professor. He was my online professor at Southern New Hampshire University. So I just graduated in social media marketing, and he has kind of been helping me, or is starting to help me in my job search after that. So most of my background, my bachelor's degree is in outdoor education. So most of my background is in working at public schools, working at summer camps, just mostly education. So I'm kind of trying to move into more of a marketing position since my recent graduation. So right now I'm working for a small publishing company. I live in Denver, Colorado, and I'm working as a marketing and sales assistant. So I'd like to kind of keep moving in that direction and get something that's full time, since that's just a part-time job right now. So yeah, out of this, I'd like to get some more tactical help with online LinkedIn, like my resume, interview help. So hopefully I'll be attending more of these meetings in the future. I'd say I'm pretty proficient in LinkedIn for now, but I could always learn more and add more to it. And I guess I'm the type of person who likes to keep learning and explore different perspectives and work with different people. So yeah.
I was going to say, with a degree in social media marketing, I was going to ask if you wanted to present today. Oh, yeah. Now I'm intimidated. We got a real expert on the line today. But thank you for attending. We're sorry that Mark is not able to join us today. Normally, he is here for any of the LinkedIn presentations and ably fills in and ably adds to the conversation. Unfortunately, he had a death in the family, and so was not able to attend today. So, but we certainly appreciate his involvement in all of this. So, have we gotten everyone except for me now? I believe we had Christy was on earlier, but it looks like she has dropped off. I am Greg Fields. I'm coming to you from the Houston area. I've been an HR person through much of my career. Started off in engineering and research, but the last 25 years or so of my career, I was in human resources. Like Bobby, I was working for Dow Chemical for a number of years, and met Bobby and Vicky while I was working there. And great to be working together again with them through the magic of Zoom. And I'm the kind of person who enjoys talking with people, exploring options with them, and mentoring them through the job search process. So with that, we will talk about some of the why do we do Job Connection? Why are we here? We want to support job seekers throughout their job search process, and most importantly, help them develop their relationship with God. We support job seekers by providing training, understanding of the job search process, and helpful advice on the stages of the process. We have both the classes like we're attending today, as well as one-on-one assistance for you to prepare for your search. So please, you feel free to ask for help one-on-one from any of our consultants. So, our goal really is to help people realize their true full potential and engage in the work they were created to do and to love. As Christians, we recognize that we can help, encourage, and teach certain skills, but it's God who will guide you to your true calling if you have that relationship with Him. Our goal is to show the love of Christ and enable you to realize that true full potential that is within you and engage in the work that God created for you to do and to love. We have the acronym of HOPE that we've used for a long time here, which stands for Help, Opportunity, Prayer, and Encouragement. And those are the things that we strive to provide here as we move forward. I do have a brief devotional, but Bobby, if you'd want to do yours first here.
Yeah, and before we get started, I just want to thank the people that have joined for the first time. If you would do me a favor and put your contact information in the chat on Zoom, okay, so that I can be sure to get that information. I ran across an article. I've gone through some challenging things in my life in the last couple of weeks with the loss of a very good friend, and so I came across something this morning when I was getting up and getting started. And it's a verse from Psalm 139, 23, 24. Says, look deep into my heart, God, and find out everything I am thinking. Do not let me follow evil ways, but lead me in the way that time has proven true. And I saw that and I thought about what we are, where we are, and what we're doing. And each of us, as we continue our journey of our life journey, on and going forward, I thought about that. You're going to reach some strange, difficult times that are going to be unusual and something that you're not familiar with. That will put you in a comfortable position, but you need to know that that God is with you there during all those periods of time in doing that. He can continue to be diligent in following Him, and He will be there. I say over and over to people, you will never see, or it's difficult to see, God's hands in your life. But when you look in the rearview mirror, you see where you've come from. You can see His hands all over your life, and has how He's interacted with you and brought you through difficult times and difficult situations, and brought you to another good situation. I've in coaching people, I try to reemphasize that when you've been in a career for a long time and you're stepping out of there and into something else, it's a little unnerving. And when one door closes, I can guarantee you that another one opens, and it's pretty good over there. So be diligent, staying forward. It'll be a different process, and that's what we're here to help you with Job Connection.
Could you tell me that Psalm reference again, please?
Sure, it's Psalm 139, 23 through 24.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Bobby. So the scripture that I had associated with today's meeting is from Acts 17, the first 3 verses. When Paul and his companions had passed through Amphipolis and Apollonia, they came to Thessalonica, where there was a Jewish synagogue. As was his custom, Paul went into the synagogue, and on 3 Sabbath days he reasoned with them from the scriptures. You may be asking yourself, what does this have to do with LinkedIn? And I'd like to say that just because the internet didn't exist in Bible times doesn't mean that there wasn't social media. In terms of biblical times, social media, and we're told that in Israel in particular, there were 2 primary places where people met and talked and interacted, and those were the city gates, for most cities, and either the courts of the temple or the local synagogue in other cities. And we see the importance of this in many instances throughout the Bible. In the story of Ruth, Boaz goes to the city gates to meet with the elders of the city and became Ruth's kinsman's redeemer. And then that resulted in the family line that brought us the David and Solomon and our Lord Jesus. And Jesus is often shown in the temple courts, meeting and speaking and teaching. Paul's travels took him to many locations. As he entered a new city, as was his custom, he would go to the local synagogue to begin meeting new people. And today, LinkedIn is the place where business people gather, like the city gates of biblical times. It's here where we tell our stories and learn about others and listen to them. So Peggy, if you would please lead us in prayer to open our meeting today.
Lord, we just come to you today, and your word is so awesome and wonderful. I'm going to read Lamentations 3:22 through 23. The Lord's loving kindnesses indeed never cease, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. Lord, we thank you for this new day that you have brought us here. And we pray, Lord, that you would touch every heart and you would help all of us to be encouraged, to look to you, to thank you in everything that you do. And may we please you today, this nice new day, as we go through this information. Please give Greg just the right words to explain. And thank you for all of us who are gathered here. Ask of you whatever you want us to do today. Let us know. I ask this in your name, Lord Jesus. Amen.
Thank you, Peggy. Thank you. My personal belief is that for most job seekers, LinkedIn is nearly as important as your resume. Together with your resume and an overall plan for your job search, those three items really form the foundation of a job search. As we go through today's meeting, I want to try to answer 4 questions. Why LinkedIn? How does it work? For someone who's new to LinkedIn, how do I get started? How do I create a basic profile? And for someone who has had a profile and basic knowledge of LinkedIn, how do I take my current profile and make it better? How do I go from good to great? In a couple of weeks, Mark will be guiding us through another LinkedIn presentation on the use of LinkedIn as a research tool and the training that's available through LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is the one social media platform that's truly dedicated to business. It was developed to bring people together for business purposes. It has over 100 million daily visitors. Some of them are probably trying to find someone like you. Some of them are hiring managers, some are human resources professionals, and some of those people are professional recruiters. LinkedIn has completely changed the life of professional recruiters. They no longer work the phones all day to try to identify and locate people within companies. They do a search on LinkedIn and go directly to the most likely contacts. Part of the answer to the question of why LinkedIn is that companies use it as part of their talent acquisition process. Mark recently sent an email to Bobby, Vicky, and me that contained the response he had received from an organization where he had applied for a job. And I quote from that email: "Please know that we look at every single applicant holistically and thoughtfully. We review professional backgrounds and resumes, potentially transferable skills, recommendations and summaries on LinkedIn profiles, blogs, portfolios if applicable, and several other factors. Most important of all, we're carefully reading answers to the online questions, which are extremely important to us." This response to an application tells us a couple of things. First, it's important to have a complete LinkedIn profile. They specifically mention recommendations, which most people don't have, and summaries, which probably include both the About section and the employment summaries. Second, during the application process, it's important to answer all the questions that a company is asking. And that will actually take you away from LinkedIn, at least for a little bit, because to answer those questions, generally speaking, you need to go to the career page on their website to apply. That's where you'll find their questions. I've heard this from other companies as well, so please remember that all those things may be very important to you finding your next job in the field that you were created to do and to love. The mention that they made of recommendations on your LinkedIn profile, back when I was in my HR director roles, that was something I always looked at before I went into an interview. If I was interviewing someone either for my own organization or for the organizations that I supported, I would always look at those recommendations, both the ones that were written about the candidate, as well as the ones the candidate had written about other people. I often learned much more about the person through those recommendations than I did through their resume. And I would often build questions for the interview, based on what I had read there. So those things are important, and they can have a very large impact on your job search. So what can LinkedIn do for you? The most important features are that LinkedIn helps other people find and become familiar with you. It helps you find other people and become familiar with them. And it can also facilitate your meeting them, just like going to the city gates in biblical times. It can also help you learn about job opportunities, different industries, functions, and companies. It can help you stay current on industry news, functional developments. It can help you refresh your skills or develop new abilities. One of the most commonly asked questions about LinkedIn is, do I need to pay for the premium membership? My answer to that is it depends. Microsoft bought LinkedIn a few years ago, and they wanted a return on that big investment that they made. So they've been working to differentiate the free and the paid subscription models since they purchased it. They began the process with special programs for recruiters and now continue differentiating for common users. For some job seekers, it's a very real help, particularly if they're in a narrow field or looking for a job where it would be highly advantageous to know the name of almost everyone who looked at their profile. There is a 1-month free trial. I would not advise anyone to start the trial until you have a fully developed profile and have mastered the basic use of the site, and then are wondering if the premium version will help you. To understand what LinkedIn can do for you and how it can help you, it's also important to understand how LinkedIn works. One of the purposes of LinkedIn is for networking. So if you're looking for someone at a company you might want to work for, or someone at a company is looking for someone with your skills and experiences, a search will be done. When someone is doing a search on LinkedIn, the program does not search everyone with a profile on LinkedIn. It searches the network of the person conducting the search. Therefore, since we have different people in our networks, I would get different results from a search than you would get, even if we used identical search terms. LinkedIn defines a network as being that person's connections. First level connections are the people they are directly connected to, and these are given the highest value in a search. Second level connections are people that you are not connected to, but are connected directly to someone that you are connected to. In the picture here, if you are the blue person in the lower right corner, the red person in the middle is your only first level connection shown. The other people connected to the red person would be second level connections to you. And the people in the background connected to the blue person would be third level connections to you. If you've joined some LinkedIn groups, then other members of those same groups are also considered part of your network. Your network can build rapidly. I recommend having at least 500 connections. If each one of them has 100 connections that you are not connected to, then your network will have 50,000 first and second level connections. If each of them has 100 connections that you're not connected to, then your network will have 5 million first, second, and third level connections. That gives you the opportunity to appear in a lot of searches. It will help to have a lot of connections and to connect with people who have a lot of connections as well. If someone is searching for someone like you, it would be preferable to be at the top of the list that is presented rather than at the bottom. How LinkedIn ranks people in a search is proprietary, but we do know that it's based on having a complete profile to get a good rating on LinkedIn. The rating is based on having a personal photo, your number of connections, having a current and past job listed with a description for each, and a minimum of 5 skills listed. Matching the keywords of the search are important, and having a fresh profile is also important. LinkedIn strives to present the most up-to-date information for the search, so a recently updated profile will get to be important as well. You can simplify this by having 2 slight variations of your headline or your about section and changing them out on a regular basis. Participation also helps. Creating and posting content, commenting on the posts of others, liking and sharing items in your newsfeed will all help. So based on this knowledge, we'll be best served by having a large network, a complete and engaging profile, and being an active participant on LinkedIn. So we've tried to answer the why LinkedIn and how does it work questions. I'm not going to go into look at these, but if you download this and also download the supplemental information that's on the website, that will show these links to you, and you can go from there if you want further information. But I want to press on with the presentation here. So let's look at building a basic and creating a basic profile. As we go through many of these slides, there will be a screenshot of a profile. The actual words on these are going to be probably too small for you, if you're viewing this, particularly if you're viewing it on your phone or in the room at the church. In most cases, I'm just trying to show you where on your profile these items will show up. It will be helpful to download a copy of the presentation to be better able to see the full slide. The goal here, even with a basic profile, is to get to a good rating in the LinkedIn rating system. You need this in order to show up well in searches. So what I'll show here are the minimum requirements to get to what used to be called the All-Star rating, which was their top rating. But it does provide a good basic professional profile. LinkedIn no longer tells you your rating, but they still have a rating system, and it basically amounts to having a complete basic profile with a lot of connections. The professional photo is necessary. It doesn't have to be done by a professional photographer, but it should portray you as a professional. A face and shoulders shot is best. We're not looking here for the Facebook kind of photo that shows might show your pets, or it might show a cartoon character. We're looking for something that portrays you as a professional in the field that you are wanting. Is there a question?
Not here.
Okay, I thought I heard something in the background there. Your headline can be a job title. It could portray the job you have, the job or type of job you desire, and or the benefits someone would get by hiring you. What we show here is an example of a hybrid headline. It has both a job title, a senior HR consultant, as well as some expectation of what are the types of things that I do, what are the types of things that you could expect from me, and that's the fitting the pieces together: strategy, structure, processes, and people. The add profile section will be important, or that button is critical as we go through building a full profile. The about section is something that doesn't show up initially when you're creating your profile initially. And so some people have never gone back and created the about section. But this is where you can begin to really tell people about yourself. And so we feel that it is a critical section to creating the basic profile, as well as a truly good profile that does a good job building your brand. It's similar to the objective statement and the background skills from your resume. Initially, to create your LinkedIn profile, you can copy those and paste them from your resume or another Word document, make some minor adjustments, and then copy them into your LinkedIn profile. As far as minor adjustments are concerned, on your resume, we always write the resume in the third person, but here on LinkedIn, it's appropriate to use the first person sentence structure if you desire. And so you can change a bit how you word things. The keywords list from your background summary on your resume is critical, as many of those words will be what a recruiter is inputting to find a candidate with your skills. You won't be able to separate those words by columns in LinkedIn. So you can either separate them by commas, as I've done here, or you can just list them in a single column, as many people do, within their about section. We can also try to separate those words into meaningful groups, such as soft skills that you have, technical skills, leadership attributes, or software that you are very familiar with. Begin with what's most important to the jobs that you're looking for. The keywords can be listed under a heading such as areas of expertise or competencies, and I've got them listed here as specialties. But whatever heading might be appropriate is something that you can list there. As we look further, we see two other areas here, one for experience and one for education. For these, was there a question?
Now we're just clearing our throat.
Thank you. These should show up as you are creating your basic profile. But again, please remember that add profile section button at the top if you don't necessarily see these as you're building your profile. In your experience section, list your previous employment, and you can also list other important things you have done if needed to fill out your experience. You can list things like volunteer work, taking care of your family members may be one of those things. I have a friend that had some special situations arise in his life, and I advised him to add a life and legacy listing on his profile. He lived in another country. He owned a successful business. As he saw the government changing in his country, he realized the best thing he could do for his family long term was to move to the United States. He sold the business, he came here legally, but he was unemployed and underemployed for quite some time, and had to take English classes as he worked to rebuild a life here for his family. And so by adding that life and legacy section, he can explain the significant gap that's in his experiences.
Where do you add that, Greg? Is that something that LinkedIn has, a life and legacy section?
No, you would simply add that as an experience here. And so you would list that as a job or job title, and the timing that you were involved with that. But it would fill the gap between what you were doing in the past, and then the next job or the next thing that you are working on. The same thing with other volunteer activities. If you've stepped away from your work life and have been very active in volunteering, or taken a part-time role and done volunteer work in addition to that, you can list that here in the experience section. There is a section for volunteers, but if it's significant, you may want to list it as experience as well.
Okay, let me ask you one more question. You
Sure.
said something so ago about, not always there. So when you do add profile section, does it show an about section, or do you have to do something to add it?
When you, I believe that as you are constructing your profile initially, you have the upper section here, for your name, your job title, and then what it opens initially next is your experience section. It doesn't show the about section, but the about section is very important. So if it doesn't show up as you're creating your profile, then you have to hit the add profile section button to find the about section and add that to your profile.
Okay, thank you.
How is this different from the resume, just in a few words? And you might address this later, but I know you can attach a resume. How would the information here, would you want it to be different than how we do the resume?
Okay. The about section is going to be very similar to your objective or summary statement on your resume, and the key words that you have listed on your resume. So in this particular section, it's going to be very similar, but here you can utilize first person writing versus third person, and so. And you can also go into a greater level of detail here than you can on your resume. When we get into the next level of creating a LinkedIn profile, we'll talk about the first 3 lines of your about section. And this is where we get into really establishing your brand. So we'll cover that in a little bit, but briefly, those are some of the differences between here and your resume. There will be a lot more information available about you on LinkedIn generally than there is in your resume, but we don't want the two to be identical. We want them, they have separate goals, they have separate targets as far as what they're designed to do and who they're designed to reach. So we want to look at them separately with that in mind.
Yeah, Greg, one of the things that used to confuse me was that, I thought that I could upload my resume into LinkedIn and it would be there. But really, isn't it really true that that's not really what you're doing? What you're doing is you're taking the data from your resume and you're putting it into sections in LinkedIn that make it fit, that fit that area. Because really LinkedIn and a resume are 2 different things. You're not just putting your resume in there, you're putting the data from your resume in specific locations where it makes sense. And it just makes it easier for you to not have to recreate some of the stuff in there. So I think that was always a little confusing to me, because typically when I think about uploading my resume, I'm uploading that document. So they're seeing maybe a PDF of that document or something, and that's not really what's happening. Is that close?
Yeah, so to start an initial LinkedIn profile, you can basically, copy and paste sections of your resume into LinkedIn. I don't advise, doing that and leaving it that way. I would first, I would make some minor modifications, at least to what you would put into LinkedIn, rather than just pasting everything directly there. As to posting your resume on LinkedIn, which is what I think Mary Jo also talked about, you can do that. I don't advise doing that. We want people to see your LinkedIn profile, and we want them to reach out to you and contact you in order to get your resume, or to allow you to tell your story yourself. By adding your resume there, it doesn't give you the opportunity to fine-tune your resume for the job that they may be wanting to speak to you about. And so would rather have them contact you in order to get a resume, rather than you provide a generic resume this way. Give yourself the opportunity to tell your story yourself. Give yourself the opportunity to fine tune your resume for the job.
That's great. I never would have thought of that. Thank you.
So, again, looking at the experience section, you list your previous employment, and some of this you can copy and paste. Other parts you'll have to probably have to type in, or maybe easier to type in. It's important to have both the job title, the company. Dates are a required field for the experience section. We'll see in the education section, the dates are not a required field. But it is also part of their rating that you have some explanation of the job within the experience section. So it's not just enough to list the job title and the company. It is helpful to list what you did there as well. So at a minimum, we would want the list of responsibilities, but we can also list some of the accomplishments there as well. In the education section, this is also required for a high rating within LinkedIn. Some people list their high school, or if they attended college but didn't complete it, they'll list the college and some other descriptor to show that they didn't complete the degree program. The skills, are like the key words. These will help recruiters find you and should describe what you can bring to the job. To get that high rating, you need to have at least 5 skills listed. You can list up to 50. And the skills quiz in the upper right-hand corner can be helpful with determining what skills you should list here. Interests are not required for All-Star or a basic profile, but I do highly recommend joining groups aligned to your function and your industry. This will greatly expand your network. I was talking with a person yesterday about their LinkedIn profile, and they were only members of one group, but that group had, I think, 247,000 members. And so that group greatly expanded their network. Look at groups that are related to your function, what types of work you do, as well as the industries that you're interested in. That can greatly expand your network, greatly expand the number of searches that you may show up in, or that you may find people through. To identify groups, you can go to the search bar at the top of the LinkedIn page and type in your industry or your job function, and then look for groups and find some of interest to you. Often there are also job search groups that you can join associated with that function or industry. You can also look at other people's profiles to see what groups they have joined. To get to a high rating, you need at least 50 connections. But again, I recommend working to get to at least 500 connections or more. All the Job Connection volunteers who are on our list will be a good start for you. You can find us again listed on the Job Connection webpage. Enter our names in the search bar to find us on LinkedIn. So to summarize a basic profile, we should have at least a minimum of 50 connections, a personal photo, the About section, a good headline, the employment section showing responsibilities for each position, the education section, and at least 5 skills. Does anyone have any questions so far in terms of building a basic profile?
Greg, you had on a point a while ago that I thought about, and typically in a resume, you want to kind of keep the information down so that it's not, 12 pages long, but a page or maybe a page and a half or something like that. And so you're a little more restrictive of the things you put in there of the paper resume. But when you're doing LinkedIn, you mentioned a while ago about in the About section, you can throw in accomplishments in there, things that you want people to know about you. It's okay I think in LinkedIn for it to be a little longer, because it's not going to be the template of LinkedIn isn't going to be intimidating to people. They're not going to see 13 or 14 pages that they have to read and absorb before they can talk to you, because they're already going to the sections of your LinkedIn profile that they want to see. They'll know what they want to see, and they're going to go there and look for it. So it's probably not a bad idea to embed some of your accomplishments throughout where it makes sense in your work history and in your About section and different things, just to get it there, because it'll help. It may help give it a little bit more visibility, and they may be able to pick up some of those things on your LinkedIn profile.
Absolutely. And I think it helps to remember, that there is there's a basic difference between the resume and the LinkedIn profile. The resume is constructed. You construct a base resume, but then you fine tune it for every job that you're applying for, and you keep that, and you document what job that was in particular that was for. And so you're narrowing, the scope of the resume, to match, the job that you're applying for. And so the target audience for that is both the hiring manager, the recruiter, and potentially their applicant tracking system. And so you're writing for those 3 entities when you're using your resume. But for LinkedIn, this is presenting your story, basically to the world of LinkedIn, or to a very large network, to potentially millions of people who might be looking for someone like you. And in this case, you don't know exactly what they're looking for, and so you want to make the LinkedIn profile broader and you may want to have more of those key words that apply to the general type of work that you do. You may want to make sure you have more of those in your LinkedIn profile than you would have room for in your resume. So you've got a different target audience for the two, and so the two definitely should not be identical. They've got to match up to the target audience that you're seeking to present yourself to.
Greg, just a basic question. I'm on the site here. Do you
Okay.
get to the skills and the groups through the edit content link?
One more time, please. I couldn't hear the first part of the question.
I just was saying, if I'm gonna edit my profile, I see an edit content button. Is that where you're going for your skills, interests, and groups under edit content?
Let me jump back here a second. So for the interest section, you would go up to the search button or the search bar at the top of your LinkedIn profile and type in the like IT. You could type in IT groups and then hit search, and then it should come up with probably a list of some people, some organizations or companies, and then groups as well. And you would click the groups button to identify groups that way. Did that answer the question, if I understood it right?
I get also, I think when you're looking at your profile on your computer, you can scroll down, you'll get to all the sections about experience, education, license, certification, volunteering, and in each of those there's a pencil that you can, and skills. There's a pencil that you'll be getting to that as we get to that part of it, but you can actually edit each of those sections through the pencil that's located in the upper right hand corner of each of those sections on your primary profile. The way to get your primary profile is to click on your little icon and it takes you to your primary profile, which would be, for example, LinkedIn with your name and what, however you set your profile.
Yeah, I found it. I found it. Thank you.
So, I've switched over to my profile, and so if we were wanting to add that, let's scroll down here. If we're wanting to add the interest section, if it doesn't show up when we're creating our profile, then we would need that add profile button back up at the top, add profile section, and that would present a list of sections that we can add to the profile. If we're wanting to find another group to add, then we would click in here in the search bar and versus let me see, human resources groups, and it would give us groups, and we could look. So here's one that has a million members. Human resources and manufacturing, 8,000 members, and we could continue to look through different groups, and so those are a couple of things that we can do that way. Did that
Hey, Greg, I think that you may have said this and I missed it, but for everyone's benefit, the interests are really driven by who you're following, whether that's a person or a company. And groups are by the groups that you search for and join, right? So that's how you get them into your interest, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And what this also does is it creates more activity in your news feed. And so anything that's posted in this case by Gary Burnison or Simon Sinek, anything that's posted by them to LinkedIn is going to show up in my news feed. Anything that's posted by the companies that I follow is going to show up in my in my news feed, and then the groups that I'm a member of. And so I can comment on those things. I can like those things as I read them, and that builds up my my usage rate of LinkedIn and adds to my scoring of LinkedIn, so I would show up more in searches. Okay.
What about those people online? They have questions?
Okay. So we've kind of talked about some of this already, that we've shown that the LinkedIn has a different target audience than our resume does, and so we need to think through those items that that the target audience for LinkedIn would be looking for. So as you're working to think through improving your profile, take a look at that, think about some of that as well, and create a plan for how you're going to reach that audience better. But take some time to think about your personal brand. What drives you? What past successes, what contributions have you made? Like Bobby mentioned a few minutes ago, adding your achievement statements or accomplishment statements. What's your value proposition? How can you use your connections, your professional associates, people that you've met throughout your career, how make sure you're contacting them and leveraging them, using them appropriately, and helping them as well with their networking. So think about what's the ideal job for you? What's the ideal type of company for you? What are the things that you are really looking for in that next job, your next career opportunity? So your profile is your overall marketing brochure. So you think of it in that way. It's the advertising for a very important product, and you are that product. It presents you, not to the whole world, but to a large part of the world, 24/7. Tells your story when you are not there to tell it yourself, and when written properly, it can generate interest such that other people want to contact you to learn more about you. Think about some of the things we've already discussed, such as your interests, your abilities, your marketable definition, your accomplishment statements, and what they demonstrate about you. These are all things that you can weave into your profile. Like other marketing brochures, we want LinkedIn to help establish and support your brand. A good marketing brochure helps make the product memorable. A good marketing brochure engages the reader or viewer and leaves them wanting to know more about the product or to sample the product. Good branding within your will make you memorable and makes them want to learn more about you, and hopefully makes them want to meet you. On Mark's profile, we can see here the beginning of his branding. The big word education at the top gets your immediate attention. Mark's headline, Proven Education, Higher Education Leader, is an example of a hybrid headline or a benefit-based headline. It tells you that he's a proven leader in higher education, and the benefit that you get from him is helping to transform students' educational dreams into their reality. So this also extends the branding. It combines a job title and a short comment on what to expect from him. As you work on your profile, think about how employers will benefit from employing you. How will hiring you help them to make money or improve their results in some manner? That's the reason they're going to hire someone. They only hire someone if they believe it will help them make more money or improve the results in some way. Mark's profile also has the open to work feature engaged, which tells recruiters and others more about what he's interested in doing. So we'll take a closer look now at Mark's current profile and several others. I'm going to, based on our time here, I'm going to skip to Chal Nguyen's profile. And on Chal, again, you can see a very effective usage of that background photo. You're making brands stand out. It gives a very visual representation. Was there a question?
Not here.
Okay. Gives a very visual representation of her brand, of what she strives to do. Then we look at her headline, Marketing and Communication Strategist, certified conversion copywriter, program manager. She used to have things in here. She changed her headline recently. Strategic storyteller, I think, was one thing that she had previously, but it gives some ideas of some of the things that she does. In her case, she is a contract marketing person looking for engagements that way, and so she has the providing services instead of the looking for employment engaged here. And I love the opening to her about section. And this is an important feature of LinkedIn and of writing your profile. You can see here is that when we first open her profile, we only see the first 3 lines of the about section. And so we want those first 3 lines to provide an engaging reference to who she is and what her brand is. And so again, we can write this in the first person. And so we see that Chal has chosen the words, I thrive on helping brands stand out through the development and implementation of powerful integrated marketing and communication strategies that amplify and bring their stories to life to increase brand equity, drive demand, and improve top-line growth. Her words are words that reach us, on a different level. I see a lot of about sections that start off, something like, I have 25 years experience in marketing. I've been, a marketing manager. I've been a marketing this. That doesn't develop an emotional connection with me nearly as much as Chal's words here do. When I look at Chal's profile, and I start off seeing that that background photo and then begin reading her about section, it makes me want to learn more about her. It makes me want to press the see more button here so that I can learn more about her. And then we learn more, and we learn more about what her specialties are. And so if I'm someone who's looking for a marketing person, your child has shown me her abilities in the way in which she has written her LinkedIn profile. But this is applicable for any of us. But it's a good lesson that we have here in Child's profile to show us ways that make us memorable and make us want to contact her if she is the type of person and the type has the skills that we're looking for. And so that's I think a good summary of what we're trying to accomplish with our LinkedIn in profiles. So it does, it makes her more memorable. It makes her stand out, and we want to know more about her as we go through this. Similarly, a different example is Stephen Rapke. Stephen is a HSE health safety environment consultant and professional, and his background photo again establishes his brand, taking HSE and compliance to the next level. You can see the mountain photo there implies going up to the peak. It shows a steady increase to get to the peak, and so it's a good representation of what Stephen is trying to accomplish, and so it's another way of looking at that. But this branding can be used for any type of job in any for any of us, and so to show some examples of that, I want to go back to the LinkedIn profile here. Again, it can be used for any professional or job. And so, warehouse logistics or forklift operator, a background photo that says safely moving what America needs. One of the important things for the warehouse operations is, of course, safety. And it shows a connection to the bigger goal of what you're doing in logistics or warehouse. You're moving the goods that America needs, around the country. You're engaged in that type of work. Another example in the IT world, could be a help desk operator. So a background photo that shows an operator there saying, how may I help you today? And it shows can portray engaging with people. Glad I've got several IT things here today with the folks that we have online and in the building there. But again, for different services, different photos, keeping and different taglines, keeping you connected to the world, connecting people through technology, keeping the world at your fingertips, keeping you connected. All those things could be ways in which you could portray yourself and brand yourself within the IT type of world. For healthcare workers, potential background photo, loving patients, restoring health, and it shows a professional, healthcare professional there. So these can be used really in any type of profession or job. A truck driver, delivering for America every day, safe, reliable, punctual. All those types of things are important in that particular industry. So those, I created all those within a few hours. So with a little bit of creativity and an internet connection, those will work for, you can find that for any job. So Greg, why haven't you done that for your own profile yet? I'll just have to plead laziness, I guess.
Yeah, Greg, I
don't
think,
have an excuse.
I think that goes under the category of, the painter's house never gets painted. But you brought up something that kind of stuck with me here. I've had a lot of people tell me that, all that looks good if I'm going into contracting world, or if I'm gonna start business, because that looks like a business website. It looks like I'm selling a business, and the facts are that you are. You're not just going out looking for a job and tossing a piece of paper out there that has your work history on it. You're creating a marketing document, even as a job seeker, not wanting to, maybe I'm looking to get back into a warehouse environment. Maybe I'm looking to get back into a call center environment. It doesn't have to be the business that I'm running, it's the job that I'm looking for. But what the website does is it portrays you as someone knowledgeable with experience in that background. When we're talking about in the career transition world like we are, most of us, you look around the room here and online, these are experienced people who have valuable experience, and it gives the LinkedIn profile gives you an opportunity to demonstrate and show that experience and that value without trying to worry about the addition of how many years that covers, that because it might be discriminating, because all we're focused on is selling your strength and your skills and getting those things in your LinkedIn document, because your LinkedIn document is really not a resume. It's really a marketing document. It's a true marketing document, a digital marketing document that you can get in front of people very easily by simply putting the URL as a hyperlink in your top of your resume, or sending it every time you send out a link to have your LinkedIn profile in your name address on your emails or on your text messages. Every text message that you send out ought to have your LinkedIn profile on it. Every email that you send out ought to have your telephone number and your LinkedIn profile on it. So people, as a hyperlink, so people can click on it and go straight to your LinkedIn profile. That makes it a marketing document for you. That's really the value. I think the true value of what LinkedIn is really all about.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is your marketing brochure. It's you don't have to mail it out to everybody. It's right there online. It's available to anyone who's searching for someone like you.
I just wanted to thank you, because today I can really clarify the differences between LinkedIn and your resume. And in teaching, we talk about the purpose and the audience. And the purpose and audiences are different. And the beauty of a resume is that you're targeting one particular job. And so that's why it's real concise. One page and all that. But in your you mentioned the brochure, and we like to use that as that your resume is your brochure. However, your LinkedIn is like the whole movie. I mean, the whole thing. And you can, and it's what I'm thinking of is like if somebody's looking at your LinkedIn and also thinking about a particular type of job, that may come out. Whereas if you're just, certainly we want you to focus on whatever your interview is going to be. But there's just a very big difference and the purpose and the audience. So that really came through to me today after having, watched these, watched these presentations. So thank you for that. Yeah.
Well, you're very welcome. I approach the creation of a LinkedIn profile with a similar philosophy as I have toward a resume. You need to be truthful, but at the same time, careful about sharing information which generally will only be used against you. This type of information might include your location. A couple of examples would be that perhaps if you live in Rockwall but are applying for jobs throughout Dallas and Fort Worth, you'll want to list the metro area as your location rather than Rockwall, as a hiring manager might see Rockwall and say, oh, he lives too far away, let's go on to the next applicant. Another example might be your education dates. If you're a highly experienced person, you want to maximize your opportunities to be involved in the process and get to tell your own story rather than being eliminated early in the process and not get that opportunity. Being truthful also means being able to express what you have done and take credit for the good things that you've done and credit for the skills and abilities that God has provided you with. We want to make sure that we glorify God and we give Him credit for the skills and abilities that we've been provided. And to deny doing that is really ingratitude. God has gifted each of us with special sets of talents and abilities. And so be grateful for those and let those gifts speak for you as you go through your resume and your profile. As we look at this, to get to your profile, when you first go in, click on the Me button on the top to navigate to your profile to be able to edit it. In each of the sections, the pencil icon is where we would go to if we wanted to edit what was there. And so we can edit our headline or other information in this section by clicking on the pencil there. For the headline, approximately 110 characters are available. Use those characters to create a memorable headline for yourself. Again, we've got that add profile section button that's important, and the about section is extremely important. Remember from Xiao's profile that only those first 3 rows are visible when your profile is open. So think about those opening lines and how you can use them to tie them to your brand and create interest in the reader such that they're compelled to open that section and learn more about you. Again, I really love the words that Xiao's used there. I thrive. It's so much more connective than, it tells you so much more about her than someone who says, I have X number of years experience. And remember the key words. Those are important in searches as well. If there's something else that can help tell your story, such as videos, depending on the type of role that you're doing or looking for, or other documents, you can upload those as well. Again, I don't advocate uploading your resume. I'd rather have them contact you, for a resume, and you have the ability to tweak it for the job opportunity. Within the About section, I also often advocate having an additional final line there underneath the keywords that says something along the lines of please contact me at, and then list your email address or cell phone number, for for networking, for job opportunities, or discussions about something of interest to you. But that makes it, you make yourself easy to do business with. Higher underneath your photo and your headline, there is the contact info button that people can click on to get hopefully your email address is in there, but don't make them search for it. If they've opened up your about section and they want to learn more about you, provide your contact information there so that they can go there directly rather than have to click one or more times to find out what your contact information is. We also have that ability to use the open to work, show the recruiters you're open to work here as well. So look for those things. The top arrow here is a box labeled Edit Public Profile and URL. We do advocate editing the address that LinkedIn has provided. Their basic address will have your name and then a bunch of alphanumeric characters along with your name. And you can go in and edit that. You may be able to limit it to just your name if no one else has yet claimed your name. Or you may need to add an initial, or some other descriptor. Don't use a birth date. If you customize it, it looks better on your resume or on business cards, and it makes you look a little bit more professional and tech savvy to have it edited rather than still be utilizing the additional alphanumeric characters that LinkedIn provides. In your contact information, again, make it easy to do business with you. Provide at least an email address, if not your cell phone number. The profile visibility indicator is found in the settings, and we often advocate, as you're making a lot of changes, to turn off the button that allows it to be send out notices to your network when you're making those changes, when you save something, so that you're not filling their inbox with that information. Then turn it back on after you've made your changes. The LinkedIn headshot, this is a necessity. Some recruiters won't consider looking at a profile or talking to a person who doesn't have that headshot on LinkedIn. Again, it doesn't have to be have been taken by a professional, but it should look like you in a professional setting. Should be authentic, genuine, not a Facebook selfie or a view of your pets or you and your pets. Those things are reserved for Facebook. The Facebook Analytics does provide a view of how many times your profile has been viewed over a certain time period, we do advocate taking a look at these and keeping track of these. The rating is based again on having a personal photo, your number of connections, having a current and past job listed with a descriptor, minimum of 5 skills, those things are important along with being active in LinkedIn and developing a large network. So the dashboard provides some metrics. I ask people to you set a time each week to go in and look at those metrics and track them. When you make changes to your profile, see if the numbers change, see if it goes up, see if something you have done has had a positive impact on how many people have viewed your profile. And then continue to do that sort of thing to increase your views even further.
Hey, Greg, I'm the kind of guy that I like to, I don't always take people's advice when they tell me to do something because it doesn't make sense. And so I always ask the question, why is this important? And I think that this is important there for that is that make that rating as high as you can make it, because the higher the rating, the more visibility is going to be seen. You made that point earlier. I think it's worth repeating that. Why do you want to go to all that trouble to get your picture and get everything just really, really good as you can? And the answer is, the better it is, the more active it is, the more you work in it, the more active it's going to be, the more people are going to be seeing it. And I think that's a definite benefit. Yeah. Little things like the picture. I'm still not a big fan of pictures on resumes. I may be talked into that one of these days, but I am pro pictures on LinkedIn, because that's important. Because when someone sees a LinkedIn profile without a picture in it, it looks like it's half finished, like you didn't really take the time to go do something. And the question you need to ask is, are they looking for people that don't have the time to go do the right things? No, they're looking for people who have the time to do the right things. And that's something that's important. So it's little details like that that are real important if you work on building your profile.
Very good. Thank you. So taking a closer look at the experience section, again, in these types of things, we want to list the company, the title, the dates, and the location, brief description of the responsibilities, and we can also bullet point our accomplishments within each of those jobs. And again, remember to turn off the public visibility until your LinkedIn profile update is complete, and then turn it back on. In the experience section, dates are a required field. You don't necessarily have to list them by the month. They'll ask for that, but you can at least list the years. And so, but you also don't have to go back and list every job that you've ever had. You can put that at a reasonable break point. In my own career history, again, I started off my career as an engineer. As an engineer, I worked in research, I worked in engineering, I worked in manufacturing, all that before I became a human resources professional. I don't list any of the jobs that I had in engineering at this point in my life, and in this point of the types of things that I do. No one would want to hire me as an engineer. It's the HR experiences that make sense as to what people would be looking for in my particular case. And the same with you. If you're highly experienced, a lot of the things that you did very early in your career aren't really applicable now, and really aren't going to make a difference to the people who are looking at your experience. And so we don't have to list everything, but we should list the things that are important, and the things that are most important, we want to make sure that we emphasize those as we move forward. So a couple other profile sections here. Again, education. volunteer experience. And so I'm approaching my 2-year anniversary as a Lake Point volunteer, and very happy to be here.
You're glad to have you.
Yeah, glad to have you.
Happy to help. Another section is the skills and endorsements. Again, you can list up to 50 skills. The skills can only be endorsed by your first degree connections or your first level connections. So people that you're directly connected to. So you can ask them to endorse you. You can also go out and endorse your first level connections for the skills that you know that they have. And that will help them want to endorse you as well. The endorsement's kind of a stamp of approval. They're saying that, yes, I know, I know this person and they have this type of skill. They've demonstrated this, in the past. You also have the ability to show which 3 skills are shown on your on that first page of your profile. And so pick the 3 that are most applicable to the types of jobs that you want. The 3 that are most meaningful for those jobs. But if you click on the pencil in the upper right hand corner, that will open up your ability to edit, and you can move the skills around to showcase the ones that you want to showcase on that first page. Again, up to 50 can be listed, and you can move those around as you wish. Through recommendations, you can have other people help you tell your story. And you can help other people tell their story as well. These are very powerful tools. Again, when I was in my HR director roles, one of the last things I would do before interviewing someone was to review their LinkedIn profile. I already had their resume. I would review that as well, but I would scan that opening section of their profile. I'd read their about section in detail. I'd scan their work history, I'd scan their endorsements, and finally I would read in detail any recommendations, both ones written about them and ones written by them about others. And I learned a lot from both of those. I often base my interview questions on what I read there. To me, it's very meaningful that someone will put their name and picture along with their words for all the LinkedIn world to see, at least. I know that the person whose LinkedIn profile this is has control of what's posted, but still it took something for someone to write those words and have their name and picture associated with it. For the job seeker, it really helps when someone else is helping to tell your story. So have your contacts help you to tell your story. It can be very helpful to you. The gold standard to me for recommendations is a 360 view. Having someone who's a former supervisor of yours, former peers of yours, former direct reports, if applicable, former clients or suppliers, or community people, volunteers, any of those people can provide recommendations for you. And as you go through this, you can help guide the writing process for others. Give them ideas on what you might want them to mention or emphasize. Some people even have, they write it or write most of it for the other person, have the other person edit it as they see fit. But in the end, that person is agreeing to have their name and photo associated with those words. And so it's still a very powerful message. To start on that process, you would click on that edit button or the pencil up and the plus sign up in the upper right-hand corner, and personally ask them to provide a recommendation for you. You should also reach out to them, hopefully by phone, if not by phone, by email, and ask them, in more personally than just getting a note from you through LinkedIn for it. But that's what you would still have to do through LinkedIn in order to get the recommendation to appear in this section. Again, they would have to be a first level connection. So there are a number of additional sections that you would possibly access through that button at the top. And if any of these items might help you tell your individual story, then by all means use them. A lot of people have licenses and certifications, for the types of work that they do. Those can be very helpful and they shouldn't be ignored. You can also add in there as you progress on LinkedIn, perhaps you're taking some LinkedIn courses. Those can also appear in some of these sections as you complete those certifications or courses. And so you should add those here as well. Some people have publications, some people have patents, some would have projects that they could utilize here. So there are a lot of things that we can add here. If you're multilingual, then adding the languages, I believe that also gives you, some ways of expressing your fluency in the languages that you would add there. If I was multilingual, I would also add that within my about section and make sure that that was something that was listed there, because I would want people to know that I have those skills. Unfortunately, I have trouble with English, let alone other additional languages. So that is not something that's a skill of mine. The interest section, again, will help define your news feed and the size of your network. Follow influencers that you can learn from and who inspire you. Follow companies that you're interested in pursuing. Join LinkedIn groups that interest you, particularly those for your field and industry. Again, that can greatly expand your network. The groups can also help you keep up to date on happenings in your industry, or your function. So I know we've gone a few minutes past 11 here already, but trying to summarize, we want to maximize the value of your sales brochure. You help others to recognize your skills and experiences and what you're all about. And so we utilize the branding to help with that. So establish that branding, give some good thought to that. And so to help with that, being creative with the background photo and a good tagline in there, using a clear and professional headshot, that compelling first 3 lines of your about section. A good list of keywords will help you show up in searches, and also help explain the skills and abilities that you have to someone who's reading your marketing brochure. You tell a consistent story throughout your brochure to help build your brand, through your headline, your background photo, your about section, your employment. A consistent story extends on down into your recommendations and skills list. Have other people help you tell your story, and then add to your connections and become an active member of LinkedIn groups. All those things are important for building a complete profile and getting your rating up within LinkedIn so that you appear early on in the searches that other people are conducting. For homework, for prayer is an important part of anyone's job search, and so we ask at this point that you would pray for guidance. Pray for help, pray for the right words that you can use that describe you and will help you to find the work that God has prepared for you and prepared you for. So continue to pray for guidance throughout your search. Complete your basic profile, and then develop your branding to begin maximizing the value of your profile. Again, please download the handouts that we've got available for you, or ask Bobby to email them to you if he hasn't done so already today. You find a photo or illustration that supports your brand that you can include with your profile as a background photo. And that catchphrase, a little bit of creativity goes a long way. We saw that in Chow's profile and Stephen's profile as well. You write or rewrite your about section to begin with a memorable sentence that captures your brand and engages with the reader so that they want to know more about you. And then again, those key words are very, very important for your overall rating, because those are the words that recruiters and other people are using in their searches to find someone with your skills. So I've got a few links to additional resources here that can help you also create, but please feel free to reach out to any of the consultants. All my information is on the website, and Mark, who's not here today, also always has great ideas on how to help people to create a great profile.
Hey, Greg.
Yes,
there's,
sir.
there's one thing I want to, I've got my personal bias, and that is that while all the sections of LinkedIn are important and presenting the data as best you can on all sections is important, probably to me, the most important section of the LinkedIn profile is going to be the references, or the place where people tell a little story about you. And I think that's an important section. I was on a project one time counseling some folks, and when we finished, I was talking to the person, and they were real excited about the new direction, what they're learning. And I said, well, would you take just a minute to send me a recommendation on LinkedIn? And they did. And something happened in that, because when I read what that lady wrote, she was from Charleston, West Virginia, and she was struggling, and she wrote a recommendation that brought tears to my eyes. And I thought, wow, that I didn't realize that she even felt that strongly about it. So she sent a recommendation with her words in it that ended up in my profile that I think probably says more things about me than I'm willing to say myself, because nobody likes to brag about themselves, but this gives people a chance to give people their opinion of you. So don't ever, it's not just who gives you the recommendation. I could go try to get a recommendation from the leader of the U.S. Senate or something, but does that really mean anything? But because it's not who gives it to you, but it's what they say,
Right.
and the words that they write. So don't miss that opportunity to get recommendations in your LinkedIn profile, because it does two things. One, it builds your profile in a way that you can't even imagine. And two, it builds your own personal confidence in yourself as we're going through this job search. Because as many of you know, the job search is very negative and very difficult to get involved with, and it keeps you down. And you can't be down in finding the job that you want. That's what causes us to end up going over to Costco and getting a job rather than going the direction we want to go. And so I want you to go the direction you want to go. The other thing I'd like to add in here too is that I'm going to do my best to edit the video of this LinkedIn profile, our LinkedIn meeting, and put it into an iMovie format and email it to, or find some way to get it to all the people that attended this meeting today, so they can go back and listen to your words again, as they're also looking at the PowerPoint presentation downloaded from our lab or from our website, so that people can kind of review what was said and own that little video of this meeting today, so that people can maybe learn a little bit more out of it.
Very good, very good. Thank you, Bobby. You know, that's an excellent ad. You know, the recommendations are a very powerful item, and like you mentioned about the person from West Virginia. So often, I had a very close cousin passed away a few years ago, but one of the things he said so many times was that you may never understand the impact that you've had on someone's life, and so many times that may come out through something like this, that you can see that you have had an impact on somebody's life, and that it's been a positive thing that you've helped someone along the way, and that can help to keep your spirits up and keep you engaged and keep you wanting to come back and progress more. So thanks for that reminder, Bobby.
Actually, one slight add in there is that you might say, well, so I'm looking for a job. Why do I care? Why do they care? What this thing that made me feel good. This story, this something that the impact I had on someone. And the answer is that's what they're looking for. Yeah. Again, people will teach you the things that you need to know about their company and what they do. What they can't teach you is how you organize, plan, problem solve, connect with people, how you do things, and that's what they're trying to hire. That's what they need, and that's what you need to show them. And so that basically, when somebody tells that story of a positive thing, where you had a positive impact on them and their life, or in the life of maybe the life of the company, maybe it was a positive thing, an event that happened that you were involved with, and you have a still connection with that person. Reach out and talk to them about that, and see if they put that type of information in your LinkedIn profile, because if they do, it builds your profile just immeasurably. Sorry, I had to throw that in.
We'll forgive you.
I hope so.
Well, you may.
What about the people online? Have they got any questions?
I haven't seen any in the chat, but I stepped away for a second. No, we don't.
Okay.
But thank you. Mentioning people online, thank you for hanging in there and attending with us. I appreciate the lively chats we did have. And I hope that this presentation was very useful to you.
Mary Jo, would you offer a closing prayer, please?
Sure, I'd be glad to. Father God, we just praise you. We praise you for making us exactly the way you made us. We praise you for even where we're at right now today. And we ask you to make a clear path forward. Whatever direction you'd have us go, Lord, we dare not go except that you yourself go with us. And we thank you for your abiding presence in us, for our lives, our families, and also for our job searches, Lord. We ask especially that you would bless the participants here today and ones in our past, that they would be able to get this information down deep in their hearts and hear from you, Lord, which way you would have them go, which way you yourself are shepherding them. And when they get the next opportunity, we will just celebrate together. And we pray that sooner rather than later, and that you would just make it clear to these participants and during this time, grow their faith as they search not only for a job, but for what you made them for on this planet. We give it all to you, to your praise and glory in Jesus' name. Amen.